So thank you so much, Mike, for joining me on this virtual
You're welcome.
interview.
I was the first Grand Marshal.
That was 25 years ago, or somewhere in there.
I couldn't believe it was that long ago.
I'd love to hear about your experience and why you had decided to go ahead and be one of our Grand Marshals for Soroptimists.
My mother had cancer and died of it at the age of 49. Cancer of the reproductive organs, which today, with the new treatments that they have, she could have lived a long life. Well, my cancer was prostate cancer. When I was 50, my primary care physician did a PSA test, my blood test. He found a number that was higher than the normal range and did a digital rectal exam. And so we waited, and the next time I had a physical, he did another one, and my number was still 5 or 6, something like that, which is higher than the 3 that's normal, and 0 to 3. So he sent me to a clinic which specialized in prostate cancer, and they did a biopsy. They determined that I did have some cancer cells in my prostate, and they gave me what's called a Gleason score of 3 plus 3, or 6. And that's a low-grade cancer. They caught it in the early stages. So what do I do now? It's, I guess, the question that men face when they get that diagnosis. So I began to do research on the various treatment options. I did a series of news stories about prostate cancer, what it is, and what the treatment options are. First, explain what it is and why it's important you get it early, why the exam is important for men to take. PSA test isn't, foolproof, but it's a good start. Then I began to research and do stories on the various treatment options. We looked at radical prostatectomy, where they actually take it out. We did stories about the various radiation treatments. We looked at the radioactive beads that they insert. We looked at hormone treatment, which is used in men that have advanced cancer, and lasers. And then we also looked robotic laparoscopic surgery. And I discovered that one of the pioneers of that in the Portland area was a Dr. Brian Schaefer. He let me use the robotic machine and tie a knot.
It doesn't surprise me that you had to do research, that you're like, oh, okay, what is this? I've got to research it.
We got such a great reaction to those news stories about the prostate cancer and the treatment options. People sent me emails, wives, loved ones sent me emails thanking me for encouraging their husband, their boyfriend, whatever, to get in and get a test. And actually, find out, not be hiding from it. So rewarding to me to get that feedback. Probably the most dramatic one. The photographer and I were walking down the sidewalk one day, and this driver of a delivery truck came driving up and just stopped right there. It really wasn't a place to park, but he got out of his van, he ran up, shook my hand. Thank you for doing those stories. He said, I was really feeling some problems. I was afraid, I was suspicious that I might have prostate cancer. And you encouraged me to get the test. And he said, I don't have it. I just have an enlarged prostate. And I'm so grateful and relieved. He shook my hand and got back in his truck and drove off. That was wonderful.
What a inspiration that you were for so many men, and that affects us women as well.
So I continued with Dr. Schaefer. We, over a period of years, actually, my wife and I went in to see him, fully expecting him to suggest surgery. We're going to do something called active surveillance. You continue taking PSA tests, rectal exams, and you do a biopsy once a year. So we did that for a period of time and watched my cancer, and it pretty much stayed where it was, near the center of my prostate, until one day, and I'll always remember this day because I was covering the unveiling of the Oregon quarter. Remember, they had a quarter for every state.
Yes.
We were in the park blocks, and I got a call from Dr. Schaefer, and he said, Mike, it's time to do something about your cancer. It's starting to move towards the margins of the prostate. So I went in to see him again, and I was fully expecting him to suggest surgery, but he didn't. He said, you really have a choice. You can do surgery with me, or you can do a radiation treatment. The radiation treatments now are very effective, very zeroed in on the cell, which was recommended in some research he'd done by Stanford University. And that's the direction I went. I then began my treatments. I went to St. Vincent for 43 treatments, 5 days a week, for an order, that is 8 weeks plus. And at the end of my treatments, the doctor who was in charge of the radiation therapy set me down and said, "You're cured of your cancer." On.
Wow.
Hallelujah. I continue seeing Dr. Schaefer. It's usually about once a year that I see him. We take another test and talk about how I'm doing. And so far, my numbers are down below 1. They're in the 0.0 something range, that's good.
What kind of support did you have during your cancer?
Well, certainly my initial family, my daughters and my wife. I had a great prayer network going for me, which was very helpful. Word got out, I wasn't afraid to share it. And of course, I'd gone public, so a lot of people knew about it that I didn't even know, who would write me and say, "I'm praying for you." So, and I'm a big believer in the power of prayer. So that was a huge network. I didn't even know who they were, but there were people supporting me. And just the thought that they were out there doing that for me really helped me. Awesome. And it was over a period of years that, the testing was conducted until we finally decided we had to do something. It's what you want to do. You want to catch it early, so that you have those more options, that you have time. If you're a man and you're 50 years of age, and maybe even sooner, get a PSA test. It's just a blood test, something we look for in a blood test. And, find out and catch your cancer early if you have it. If you don't, you have peace of mind. So do it. It's not a foolproof test. You have to do other things to confirm it, and you have to watch it over a period of time, do active surveillance. But it's a beginning, and gosh, it's so important. It's important to you and to all your loved ones.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us and to be able to just be an inspiration for men, women, and and family, loved ones that have either gone through this or maybe needing to be inspired to go forward and wherever their journey is. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you gave me an opportunity to do it.
I love the fact that I don't have to direct you. It must be all those years on television.
Albany's just grown in lots of good ways, and it's exciting to see that happening to your hometown. Albany will always be my home, and so any excuse I get to come to Albany and see friends and just to see how the town's developing and growing, I take it great opportunity.